What is the key to success for achieving great business results with improved customer experience? And how to achieve it with mobile? It isn't as easy as you'd think, especially for global businesses. I'll be moderating a panel today that aims to discuss just that. I'm Tomislav Krevzelj, and I've been in the industry for nearly 10 years, all with Infobip, where I'm a senior content marketing specialist. With me today are our expert panelists who will shed some light on how businesses can use mobile to provide the kind of customer experience that generates great business results. In our panel today, we have, and please briefly introduce yourselves. First of all, our very own Kreso Zmak.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kreso Zmak, Senior Director of Products and Infobip, with Infobip for the last 5 years. Prior to that, worked in telco. I'm responsible for our SaaS proposition as well, telco, and all the OTT emerging channels.
Hi, Kreso, and thanks for being with us today. Also with us is Peter Coleman. Peter?
Hello, everyone. My name is Peter Coleman. I'm the Director of Sales here for North America at Infobip. I've been in the technology space for about 20 years now, focused around a mix of communications and cybersecurity.
Hi, Peter, and thanks for being with us as well. Also with us is Mohammed El-Khayat. I hope I pronounced that right. Mohammed, are you with us? Oh, you're muted, Mo.
Yeah, it happens in 2020, major issues. So thank you so much, Tomislav. Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed El-Khayat. I'm the Head of Customer Experience and Digital Transformation at Nissan in Saudi Arabia. I've been in the industry for the past 10 years, working for Toyota and currently for Nissan. And one of my main job roles is to make sure how we're having a digitally enabled customer journey, which assists the customers with a positive business impact. Happy to be here with you guys.
We're happy you're here with us. Also with us is Igor Task. Igor?
Hi, everybody. My name is Igor. I'm coming from the company called El-Khayat, where I've been for well over 10 years now. So currently responsible for the business line that is entrusted with delivering customer engagement solutions to our customers. So focusing on Microsoft Dynamics 365 implementations in various industries. So happy to be here.
And we're happy to have you. And finally, last but not least, of course, Lalani. Al?
Hi, everyone. I'm Lalani. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Annex Cloud. Annex Cloud is an enterprise platform focused on helping our customers build scalable and global loyalty programs. The goal is to increase the lifetime value, but the key differentiation is to do that with an improved customer experience and an improved customer journey. We work with global partners and global customers today, and I'm excited to present today.
And we're excited to learn from you. So first off, my first question is going to be for Kreso. So the more technology advances, the more it's integrated into our daily lives. How do we at Infobip tackle those challenges and continue down these innovative pathways?
Great question. So Infobip has been in the industry for the last, starting 2006. So we've evolved from the let's say an SMS aggregator today to be the leading CPaaS provider globally. And with the acquisition of Open Market, we are now the strongest CPaaS player globally with presence on all the continents. We are missing Antarctica, but knowing our pace, we might finish there and open an office. During this time, we've evolved from SMS, introduced additional channels, because very soon we realized there are additional channels which could be used for engagement, for notifications, for one-time passwords, which are the main use cases within SMS. So we introduced email, voice, push notifications. And lately, the market has seen the evolution of the OTT channels, like chat apps like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Viber, but also RCS, which was one of the topics and is one of the big topics today. And those channels are driving the conversational revolution which is happening today. So people are moving away from apps, people are moving away from the mobile web, from desktops, and they are spending more and more time within the apps. And this is the moment we are living now. So this is where the market is, where every brand needs to be today, and Infobip is following that path. Furthermore, what we see on the horizon and what has started is let's say we are entering in this age of AI, because all of the use cases of personalization, profiling, agent within the call centers, chatbots, all are powered by artificial intelligence in a way or another, machine learning, automatization, but that's the future that we are fast forwarding to.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm sure that future will bring a lot of challenges. So, Peter, you work with a lot of brands from different industries. What are their challenges and their expectations, really, and where do you see the biggest gaps?
Definitely. Thanks, Tomislav. Great question. So I think 2020 showed us every single challenge possible when it comes to the digital age. And a lot of brands adapted and evolved into a digital evolution, if you will. Moving from the in-person contact to the digital or omni-channel experience has been what I'd say is a great experience and a great change for a lot of industries. Let's take retail, for example, right? The typical in-person experience of going into a store and purchasing, something at a local retail or mall has evolved into the e-commerce world. Creating a customer engagement experience has been very key on focused brand awareness, abandoned cart notifications, things of that nature to enhance or elevate the customer experience overall. Even another great example is the finance world of typical, in-person banking is seen an evolution of chatbots and customer experience or engagement over different channels, be it text messaging or even voice communications through things like smart IVRs or AI-driven IVRs. So we're going to continue to see an evolution. There are a lot of gaps that these organizations still need to address, be it if they want to build or buy a solution. And companies like Infobip have those capabilities to provide you that different methodology or that preferred methodology that you'd want to have today.
Okay, thank you. So back to Kreso. Peter mentioned some pretty exciting things. And businesses want to have multiple channels where they invest the most. But does this also mean they can provide a truly omni-channel experience at the same time?
Yeah, so basically there is a big difference between the expectation and the reality. And there are two things. Businesses finally realize that nobody wants to come to the office anymore. Nobody wants to receive a postal like a mail, not an email, but a mail. The reality is the clients want to go digital, and all of us here on this call, I think from the audience during this call, we spent some time listening to us what we are telling, but a lot of time we spent checking up mobile, checking the email, checking the social, checking the OTT channels, the chat apps. So that's the reality. So we are communicating with our friends, family, and co-workers using digital channels. We want to communicate using the same digital channels. So brands are getting that. The other thing is that the brands would like to implement an omni-channel strategy, which means that omni-channels means that you're communicating with your end users by switching lane during the communication. Let's say you're on a call, you're discussing about a loan. Once the call is finished, you send an email with the contract, and then you send let's say, notification over SMS after a few days. That's true omni-channel. The reality, again, is a little bit different. So companies are today still working in a silos way with multi-channel communication. So they're using email. One department is using email, the other one is using voice. And finally, what is the biggest challenge today, that this communication or the experience with the brand is disconnected. So you're receiving a late payment notifications from let's say, the procurement, and on the other side, marketing is engaging you to buy some new stuff. You are complaining about the quality of your line to a telecom, you are calling them on or posting on social. On the other hand, there is a sales rep calling you and offering you an upgrade of the mobile plan. So that's not omni-channel, that's bad customer experience. So what we are doing, we are trying to build a unique platform, and what the brands should do is have a unique platform which would streamline all the communication, because the customer experience is not only when you're reaching them for marketing and the billboards around the town. Customer experience starts from the onboarding, engagement, as well through customer support. So that's true omni-channel.
All right, thank you. So we've gotten a good insight into the importance of having a diversified channel portfolio that works together. So Mohammed, this question's for you. What are you considering when adding a new channel for business communication? Do you follow trends, your customers' expectations, or what's the guiding principle for you?
Interesting question. And it's a very interesting explanation for the omni-channel experience by Kreso, which we truly believe in as a brand. But to that point, when adding a new channel, I believe it's a combination of multiple factors. So currently we live in an era where people are looking for answers and they demand it right in the moment, anywhere at any time. And that's, of course, thanks to Google. So when we decided to, for example, to add a chatbot as a new channel of communication with our customers, it was simply for the mere fact that we want to be able to serve our customers around the clock. We still use our call centers. However, due to the time limitations, customers can't be served around the clock. So the chatbot has been very effective when we launched it a couple of months ago. However, for me, the main effectiveness of a chatbot comes after its launch, when data starts coming in, analytics, user behavior, and whatnot. Because for me, customer validation is key. Whether if you're following trends, if you're following a certain company strategy, or if you're following your gut feeling, still customer validation is key for introducing a new channel or a new solution. And this comes after the data and the analytics. And I believe also reverse engineering and optimizing your use cases and everything that you do with your chatbot is the key to make sure that it's always effective and engaging as a communication channel.
Okay, thank you. Igor, I think this question's for you. What benefits in terms of the omni-channel approach can your customers expect?
Thanks for the question. Yeah, I mean, when talking about benefits for our customers, it really initially kind of depends what kind of omni-channel strategy are we talking about? What is the customer's focus? Is it a B2B or a B2C business, right? Are we building a holistic omni-channel strategy, or are we only taking a look at a part of the business, like, I don't know, customer service or marketing? But generally, in terms of benefits, I would actually highlight three. I think the first one being reaching new customer segments. I think this one seems really important to me, because after a few years ago, actually, we were talking to an existing hospitality customer, and to my surprise, I came to the realization a couple of years ago how many people actually demand or require communication and hotel reservation via chat applications. It would have never occurred to me. So fast forwarding this a couple of years ago, or for a couple of years now, we can only imagine that we're not paying attention, and sticking to old ways is much more costly now, right? The second benefit would be actually increasing operational efficiency, which of course in return would reduce cost as well. This is something that is typically seen in customer care departments. For example, single customer care person can talk up to 5 different chats as opposed to being stuck on a single phone call, right? But all in all, I think customers really value the increase in their customer lifetime value, right? So when you think about it, talking to the right person at the right time, using their preferred communication channel, be it proactively targeting them with marketing campaigns, or helping them out with a problem. This is actually what makes customers stay with you, right? Of course, as a result of implementing such an omnichannel strategy, retention rates and sales revenue are also going up, especially when considering some studies which show that omnichannel customers spend up to 10% more than single channel customers.
Really? I didn't know that, actually. That's an interesting statistic. Thank you for that, Igor. Al, we heard Igor mention increasing customer lifetime value. How can the omni-channel approach be used for increasing the customer lifetime value? And what are some of your observations based on the experiences that you've had with your own clients?
Yeah, no, thank you. I want to focus a little bit more on the sort of current scenario that we're seeing and what we see sort of coming forward in the next few years, because we know the world around us has changed for good, at least for the next few years. The key aspect, I want to sort of talk a little bit about a study that was done in 2009 after the last sort of financial recession. And this study was done across over 30 million consumers, over 685 top brands in the world. And the study found that 52% of these brands, and these include the Samsungs, the Pepsis, the Cokes of the world, including many, many others, found that 52% of consumers defected from their favorite brand in 2009. And half of them found a alternate brand to go with, thereby reducing obviously lifetime value and retention for those big brands. Now we're starting to see some of that again with this crisis again. And more importantly, what we're also seeing is not only is that impact where people are sort of defecting and trying to look at different brands, the change in channels where e-commerce has grown from, let's say, 15% of market share to 30% of market share in many, many cases, as well as the ways and channels in which people communicate drastically changed, has a big, big, big impact on customer lifetime value. So what can you do, right? Given that problem set that people will defect because of the crisis, and second, their channels are changing. The big sort of pieces that we sort of advise our customers to do is focus along the entire customer journey. We help people build loyalty programs. The goal is to increase lifetime value. That's sort of what we focus on. But the old school sort of ways of working with brands has changed. You have to focus across the entire customer journey. That means not only on consumers that are just buying from you during the transactional behavior, but how they're sort of connecting with you. So what's the service experience like? What's their social experience like? What's their experience like outside of when the transactions are actually happening? How are they communicating with you? So chatbots is a great example, not only just of transactions, but also for customer experience. And then lastly, the sort of advice that we give people is try to connect with people, even if they're not directly buying from you. So especially in the consumer goods space where you are not directly in touch with that customer, how do you sort of connect with that customer? We've got a product called receipt scanning, allowing you as a consumer goods company to scan receipts and sort of bring in consumer data, even if they weren't directly buying from you, right? So innovating across that space. And I know Infobip has a lot of products around sort of that customer journey, and whether they are getting a text or an email or any other part of that customer journey, we need to track them, we need to connect with them, and we need to sort of improve that journey, thereby increasing lifetime value.
That was amazing. Thank you. Very insightful, Al. Mohammed, this next question's for you. Can a chatbot sell a car?
I would say it's a yes and a no at the same time. So yes, for the fact that currently chatbots have the technical capability to be able to sell a car, given, of course, the right system integrations combined with the right customer experience and the processes in the back end. However, it's still a no, because simply customers still want to touch and feel, and visit the dealership and interact with the salesperson. And the reason for this is that, buying a car is still one of the major life decisions considered, that you would keep the car at least for 3 years, and considering the monetary investment involved, we can still see, or we cannot see the full journey of buying a car happening fully online, at least here in our part of the world. However, what we're focusing on is taking part of the process that can be handled online. So in the coming years, I believe we'll witness a change in the consumer behavior while we see the shift from ownership to mobility with the introduction, with car subscription models and peer-to-peer rentals and whatnot. However, my recommendation, in general for chatbots is to choose a certain part of the purchase funnel and build on it from there. So as you can see, for example, from the slide that you just shared, Tomislav, gives an example of how we developed, a use case to assist customers in knowing more about our models. In this case, for example, the Nissan portfolio. So the customer will have the ability, to view videos of the model, view pictures, interior and exterior, download the brochure, and all the way until they can submit a request. And all of this is through WhatsApp. So in that area, we covered the awareness and the consideration phase. If you consider a simplified purchase funnel of awareness, consideration, and conversion. So we made the customer aware of the product, and they actually made them consider the product by submitting in a lead. However, we left the conversion to still be done at the dealership like what the customer wants. Another use case, for example, that we developed for our owners, and the next slide, Tomislav, is, for example, booking a service. So we didn't just focus on people who are interested in Nissan or on the, more of the shopping side of the business. We also focused on the ownership, which comes also with what Al mentioned regards to the service experience and the customer lifetime value, is that we tried also to make it more interactive, sharing their location, finding their nearest showroom, and actually submitting a full request directly from the chatbot. So I believe, with the chatbots, as I said before, it's always based about, customer feedback and what is coming out of the chatbot, and, training the chatbot on an ongoing basis to make sure that you're having an effective channel in place.
Okay, thank you very much, Al. My next question is for Igor. Seeing all these levels of service provided by Nissan, you give your clients promise of full service. How do you do that, and what does it really mean?
Thanks. At BE-terna, we're fortunate enough to be in the position to cover a large, if not complete, aspect of the company's business. Our services range from implementing ERP solutions, customer engagement, business intelligence, and predictive analytics, with HR, mixed reality, and modern workplace as well. So the vast majority of that sitting on top of Microsoft technology, like Dynamics 365, but we're also a partner of Info, Click, and Cornerstone, just to name a few. And of course, we're covering the complete customer lifecycle, so from consulting to implementation to an active support. A while back, looking at the market needs and trends, for us, it only made sense to form a strategic partnership with Infobip. For us, it basically went for three major things. As we have a couple of vertical solutions for utilities, banking, and insurance industries, we're excited to enhance our off-the-shelf offering with what Infobip has to offer in regards to omnichannel capabilities. The second part, then, as a company, we have a pretty solid existing customer base, which we can actually look at in regards to, can we fit Infobip's offer, like moments on conversation, better than what we currently have in store? And last but not least, we commonly found ourselves in a system integrator role for bespoke scenarios where we need to implement and support and optimize custom business processes. So we need a reliable and extensible platform in order to deliver.
Okay. Can you share some interesting use cases where your solution has fulfilled your promise to your customers?
Maybe a recent joint win in a financial industry would fit this. So basically, it was an interesting case where we positioned Moments together with Dynamics 365, Power Platform, and Azure with predictive analytics as part of a analytical and operational customer engagement solution. Basically, on a high level, we had 3 business goals and 3 operational goals that we achieved. So business goals being driving more revenue and growth in existing retail customer base, So decreasing the churn rate, increasing retention rate, and standardizing and increasing upsell and cross-sell opportunities. While looking at the operational side of things, we were focused on eliminating time-consuming operations. So there was a lot of manual data manipulation. So we reduced manual import and export of data. There was a non-existing campaign automation that was covered by Moments. And of course, then streamlining campaign tracking and monitoring as well.
So basically, better business results brought about by a solution that improved customer experience.
In a nutshell.
Exactly what we're looking to achieve here. Mohammed, what improvements did you notice since introducing new communication channels? Can you tell us about some results, some metrics, or improved customer satisfaction?
Sure thing. So taking the example of WhatsApp that we just recently launched with Infobip, the reason for choosing WhatsApp is because it's the number one communication platform in Saudi with over 75% penetration rate. Mm-hmm. And as soon as we launched on the chatbot on WhatsApp, we can see a great performance jump in the first 3 months with over 70% increase in the number of engaged users and over 140% increase in the number of leads. And the most interesting part is that we've seen 6 times more in terms of the exchange messaging from around 85,000 to over 600,000 in 3 months. So this for us, wow. It shows that it was the right decision to jump on WhatsApp in terms of having a chatbot. Yet again, I would say this was also because that we had the right system integrations in place together with the data analytics, because it makes us, keep on tracking and optimizing what we're trying to do with WhatsApp. And currently we're looking as well with our partners at Facebook on how you can optimize campaigns through WhatsApp as well. So a lot of interesting data coming out of WhatsApp, and I hope we can see more brands jumping on top of the WhatsApp bandwagon.
With these results, I expect we can expect to see that. Al, we've heard quite a bit about AI and automation today. So AI and automated communication holds just huge promise towards improving the future for businesses. How do you maintain a human touch throughout this digital transformation? And is it really essential for effective communication?
That's a very, very good question. It's something that we have been sort of working on for several years now and will be, right? I can tell you the use of AI in the marketing landscape is only going to increase. Where it is very, very effective, I can give you sort of 3 specific examples where it's very effective. The first one is in terms of personalization at scale. As marketers, we are limited in certain terms of being able to personalize experiences at true scale. We've been talking about one-on-one personalization for a very, very long time. But scaling that through AI is significantly easier and significantly personalized to specifically individual consumers now that we have a big data store available over sort of at least first-party data for our customers. Secondly, kind of scaling our own team's capabilities, right? From a marketing standpoint, creating these campaigns at scale that are truly personalized from a marketer standpoint is extremely difficult to execute on. And so expanding that marketer's ability to then execute those sort of personalized campaigns is sort of another ability. And the last one I will say is very recent, but is year to come, is what I call fraud detection. With the change in channels and where things are now, there is a lot more potential fraud that is either happening or will happen as these channels progress, and then sort of the new sort of life that we live in. And so fraud detection, there's a sort of big aspect of AI that can really help scale that very, very effectively. So those are some real-time use cases where AI can really help from a marketing landscape perspective. Now, the human touch from a digital transformation perspective will never go away, right? We talk about chatbots, but at the end of the day, the transaction most likely will be closed by a human. So while chatbots can enhance the experience, bring you to a certain point, give you a lot of information that's available in the data store, at the end of the day, potentially there is that human touch that will help close the transaction, and in many cases provide service from that perspective as well. So I'm sure that there is a place in both cases, but AI will help scale this massively.
All right. Thank you for that answer. Peter, what can customers expect from brand communications in the future? I mean, we've already talked about AI and automation. Where's the future of this present futuristic landscape we're in right now?
Yeah, I think it's really about the flexibility and the evolution of how we can continue to become flexible for our consumers, and how we can present brands with solutions and options in order to engage directly with their consumer themselves. We've touched on a lot of great points today, and it's bringing it all together, right? So creating an experience from one channel to another, and that flexibility or that flow through that entire life cycle of customer engagement through a consumer reaching out to brand agents or customer service, starting with maybe a chatbot and really engaging via getting some general questions via AI, but then having that need to interact with a human, right? So having that ability to transition from that chatbot to a live customer agent is very critical and very key, because that human touch is still important, right? So having the ability to either meet the needs of that consumer via messaging or voice communications or even video today, right? And that interaction creates that personal experience. And you can put all of these methodologies and these channels together to enhance and bring together that overall customer engagement and really satisfy the consumer at the end of the day.
All right, thank you for that. Now a question for everyone. I'll call you out when it's your turn to provide your insight and your opinion on this. What has a pandemic lockdown brought us in terms of technology, customers, and consumer expectations? And what are some of the lessons learned in terms of customer experience? And how will all ecosystems carry it over to a COVID-free environment? So I want to hear from Kreso first.
Yeah, thanks. Basically, this COVID situation catalyzed or fast forward the digitalization across the globe. Here in Croatia, we were trying to digitalize in 25 years. Now in 4 months we were able to do it, and that's, I think, across the globe we see cases like that, and that's what's important. And I think all of the attendees here have shown how digitalization can really boost business. What we've seen talking with our clients, the majority of them thinks that the digitalization and some patterns and models and chat apps and multi-channel, omni-channel are here to stay even after the pandemic, because businesses are more effective, the customer experience is better. So that's the most important thing that all the clients we've talked with emphasize, that the new digital channels, the omni-channel experience and improved customer experience through those are here to stay after the pandemic.
Okay, thank you. Next, Igor.
I assume the majority over here came across a meme in the past months. It's like, who led your digital transformation of your company, right? Was it a CEO, CTO, or the COVID-19? What I actually think is pandemic really highlighted how unprepared businesses were, right? So overnight, actually, everything switched to online. So things that were previously nice to have actually became mandatory. I always come back to an example as, for example, as basic as grocery delivery, right? So inadequate logistics support, performance issues on online stores, things like that. People staying up late in hopes that they can get a free slot for a grocery delivery. It was a customer experience nightmare. It was one after the other, right? What I think is actually pandemic brought awareness to the wider population that doing business online from the comfort of your home is actually the new normal, and it's here to stay, right? So telephone and email are not the only communication channels at the moment that exist. So I think that the way of thinking and doing business before was more in the domain of tech enthusiasts and maybe a part of the millennial generation. But this has now changed dramatically, right? So now everybody is actually expecting a really high level of customer engagement from every company. Because I know for me, we were all impatient before the pandemic. Of course, we tolerated some things because most of the companies offered the similar experience. But now we know what's possible, how quickly it can be turned around, and we're even more demanding, right? We get frustrated more quickly, and we just, if things are not to our liking, we just look for the alternatives, right? Who's going to deliver? But I think after the first wave, actually many of the companies got their things together, and this kind of gives them a nice starting point to build on. Even from the technological standpoint, the companies are aware that all systems need to talk together in order to have like a complete picture of the customer. And this data is actually the basis for omni-channel communication that will be driving the customer engagement. So yeah, companies armed with this understanding that nothing is optional anymore, because whoever I talk from the industry, everybody's blown away from the demands and incoming opportunities from the market. So things are about to get really interesting the way I see it, because companies need to rethink their customer engagement strategies and put the customer in the center.
Definitely agree with that. Thank you. Next up, I want to hear from Mo. Mohammed, please share your insights and opinion on this.
Great, interesting. Considering, I'm on the brand side of things. So for me, the technology was already there. But as mentioned by my colleagues over here, is that there was a lack of awareness and lack of focus. And I believe the pandemic has increased the adoption, drastically in terms of the importance of technology and systems and integrations and whatnot. So I always like to quote an example, like the colleagues at my office, for example, who didn't used to know some basic metrics of customer experience currently, speak about it more openly and fluently in presentations. That's because people were pushed to adopt the fact that digitalization and the importance of customer experience is well needed for the brands. However, when we did our research, we're still seeing, for example, more interesting things popping up on the top of the charts is that people currently, because we're not only talking about digital experience when it comes, for example, to automotive, people still visit the dealership. And one of the things that they focus on in the experience currently is the health standards, the sanitization, how things are being done in terms of the social distancing and how the sales people are, handling the situation in terms of having a well COVID maintained kind of showroom. So things are changing for customers. I still believe the major change in an industry like the automotive, it will take some time for customers to actually, fully pay for a car online. I believe they can reserve for a car online and then they finalize, the deal at the showroom. But as we move forward, it's not a COVID-free environment anymore. I believe it's a new normal that we need to get used to. I believe, the adoption and the technological change will be more drastic than before in the coming couple of years, especially here in Saudi Arabia, with everything happening with the government and the transformation of 2030. And the government is having everything digitalized, even for the residents as well as the nationals. So there's already an acceleration from the government, an ongoing acceleration. So I believe this will also push people in general and customers to actually adopt more digital solutions, even more than what we've experienced in 2020. And my main recommendation at the end of the day is, I believe one of my colleagues also in the panel has mentioned it, is break the silos when you're working on customer experience in general. Is that you cannot work as a CE function without, coordinating with your marketing communications function or your sales function, your after sales function. It won't be able to happen. I don't know if you cannot break the silo, the process won't be complete. So breaking the silo, I believe, was one of the main factors of success for us at Nissan here in Saudi Arabia on how we handled the pandemic. So this would be my main takeaway for everyone.
Okay, before I actually move on to Al, how did you break the silos?
I remember back in March of 2020 when the cases was increasing, we've started hearing about lockdowns. I remember working on a task force, one from each department, on a full-fledged plan as a countermeasure to COVID. And it was, it's a trial and error at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. So you try a certain solution, and if you fail, you have to fail cheap, and you have to learn fast. So this was for us, our main ideology. And also, to be honest, we set the right strategy on positioning Nissan as a brand that is easy to do business with. And this strategy was shared across the whole company in Saudi Arabia for us to be able to share the same mindset on how customers should be able to position Nissan when they're dealing with it as a brand.
All right, thank you for that. Al, I want to hear from you now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there are a few keywords I was writing down that are important as we were talking that we have seen as an impact. I think the first keyword I would use is agility. We have all become significantly more agile. Mohammed talked a little bit about a process, but both in terms of technology, it used to take months for example, retailers to launch simple things like curbside pickup. That happened overnight almost for many of us, right, in many countries. So that agility in terms of technology expectations from technology companies like us is a big ask in the future, and that's not something we can stay away from. The second part is, and I also sort of expand a little bit on what Mohammed mentioned, is integration. Integration between different technologies is extremely important, not only from our end customer's perspective, but the end consumer's perspective, because they just expect a very seamless experience no matter what channel they're in. Whether they work on or communicate with you on a chatbot, they get an email, they get a text, they walk into a store, they call the call center, talk to a service rep. That sort of seamless experience is sort of very much expected now, even more so than before. The third one I would bring up is privacy and security. We live in a world where privacy is become an extreme expectation. And as we sort of go along, every different country or region is launching their own sort of privacy laws around sort of certain things. And so the consumer expectations around privacy are changing. While I'm, as a consumer, want a personalized experience, I also want my data to be extremely private and kept correctly. And I want security as a big experience there. So those are some sort of key important pieces that are important. The last thing I will sort of stress upon is the B2B world, which is changing extremely as fast as the B2C world. And that's another sort of trend that we're seeing the change as well.
Okay, thank you for that. Peter, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I think a key word for me is expedited evolution, right? We've transitioned very quickly from a in-person to a digitized world. We've seen the evolution of the retail world switch from in-person, right, to online shopping as a key driver for 2020, which entails also, right, shopping from home for groceries, for consumer goods, right, for just food delivery in general, even. We've seen that really take off. From the banking and insurance world, right, the ability to just grab your phone and use an app, right, to either, call about a claim when it comes to your insurance company, as maybe you got into a fender bender. And the ability to connect with an agent via an app by messaging, voice, or even video has evolved into just, adapting and utilizing and being dependent for utilizing a phone today. Funny enough, we've even seen the dating industry evolve, right, from going to meet in person right now to video dating and video conversations in this pandemic world that we lie in today. So, it's all about the evolution and where we've come very quickly and adapted, in a forced manner. And I think that's really, really important to stress upon that. The industry has come together to help and really enhance that customer experience.
All right, thank you. We have a couple of questions from the audience. So one question, I'm absolutely sure this is definitely for Mohammed. So the Nissan strategy is going to change to more conversational commerce. Will this turn sales of vehicle into service sales?
Actually, it's a good question, but as I said before, it always depends on which part of the funnel you're focusing on. So, for example, we developed, and speaking of Saudi Arabia, of course, because we are having a full adoption for customer experience from global and regional teams, and we're actually having a chief CE officer sitting on top of the board. So there's a full adoption for customer experience and digital transformation across the company. But speaking of Saudi Arabia, in terms of commerce in general or the commercial aspect of purchasing a vehicle, I believe we're still facing a slow transition from the traditional way of buying a car to the digital way of buying a car. And we're seeing adoption in terms of course, lead generation. It's working very well because customers are used to submitting in leads and asking for requests, and requesting quotes and whatnot. And the conversational part of the experience comes at this area. However, transforming to a fully conversational commerce, I believe this will take some time as we learn from what's coming out from our e-commerce experience. We just launched our e-commerce also a couple of months ago, and we're still learning from the data coming out of it. So I believe, as I said before, in the next couple of years, major change is going to happen. It will be driven by the customers. It won't be no longer being driven by the brands anymore.
Okay, which actually brings us to the other audience question, which we just have just enough time for. Anybody who wants to take this question, it's yours. Do you think that marketing specialists are ready for this revolution, and should we all go on a training for digital transformation and business messaging?
I'll grab that.
I will leave it for the guys from Infobip.
Yeah, I'll grab that. I think marketing specialists are ready for the revolution. I think they've already started in essence, right? We've seen traditional SMS marketing and with media messaging already here in North America and globally. With the adoption of adding different channels into that experience, I think we're already there. It's like I've mentioned, it's just an evolution, right? So just adding more and more channels to your capabilities in order to enhance that customer experience is going to always be key, right? So whatever the preferred channel is within your region, I think that's the go-to market for you. You can always fall back to the traditional methodologies, but really bringing up that online posture or that app posture is going to be key. And you're already there. I would just say just continue to evolve and continue to learn the new aspects of what you can integrate into those pieces.
And keep an eye on emerging trends, emerging channels, that sort of thing. Because once the audience adopts them, they are going to want to use them. And we've seen that, well, with just about everything we mentioned here today. So WhatsApp, who imagined as many years ago that we would be doing what we're doing with it today? Like the Nissan use case, I never thought I'd ever be able to get service scheduled for my non-Nissan vehicle, but it's there now. It's all there over an app I'm accustomed to using and very comfortable with using. I want to thank you all, gentlemen, for being with us today. Thank you for sharing your expertise, your know-how, and your insights. This was very eye-opening. And thank you to everybody who took part in this panel. Thank you for your questions. And thank you for being interested in the future of mobile and how it can improve your business. Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.